Hello Year 1, I'm going to read you a book today. It is a fiction book, and you remember what that means? It means a storybook. So the main character in the story is called Greta, and she is a real person. But somebody, in fact these two authors down the bottom here, Zoe and Zoe, have written a story about her. So let's see what they've written. And just as I'm reading, think about the really important message of this book about the world. Okay, so there was once a girl who lived at the heart of a beautiful forest. Her name was Greta. One morning, things weren't quite as they should be. Greta stepped out into her garden, and there, huddled together in the shadows of the trees, were all the animals of the forest. A soft, silvery brown wolf stepped forward, with his tail low to the ground. "Please help us," he whispered. "The forest is broken and we don't know where to go. The giants are ruining our home." The giants had always been there for as long as Greta could remember, but now they were worse than ever. They were huge lumbering oafs, and they were always busy. They chopped down trees to build homes. Then they chopped down more trees and built bigger homes. Can you see there? The houses grew into towns and the towns grew into cities. They built factories and shops and cars and planes. They worked all day and all night until eventually, and you know what we do when we see an ellipsis? Dun, dun, dun. There was hardly any forest left. What do the giants sound like, do you think? So in this story, they're fictional, they're made up giants, but actually they do remind me of something. But the greedy giants had forgotten how wonderful the forest was. They didn't see all the little birds and bugs and butterflies and bears that trembled in the shadows, and no one told them to stop because everyone was scared of them. Everyone except Greta. "Will you help us?" asked the wolf. Greta looked around her. The animals looked tired and sad. She had to help them. But how? Then Greta had an idea. Do you remember we do this for then? Greta had an idea. The next morning, Greta went to the middle of the forest and waited for the giants to come. She stood alone holding a big sign. The sign said, "Stop." She waited, dun, 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 and waited, dun, dun, dun. On the first day, the giants didn't see her and lumbered on by, and on the second and third too. A little boy who had been watching Greta made a sign and came and sat down next to her. He didn't say much, but Greta knew he felt like she did. So more people and animals saw what they were doing and joined in too. Look, save our forest, help, stop. Soon more people and animals saw what they were doing and joined in too. Before long, a huge crowd filled the forest, stretching out to the city and the roads beyond. They stood together and waited. The crowd was so huge, dun, 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 that the giants were stopped in their tracks. "Please stop," Greta cried. "Your greedy behaviour is spoiling our home. You've broken the trees, you've trampled the flowers, and now the bees and birds have flown away. These animals are homeless and our forest is dying." After Greta had spoken, everything was silent. But then everyone in the crowd began to shout, "The smoke from your fires is choking the air. Please stop cutting down the trees. Mend my home. You can help plant some new ones. We need action now. Help, our home is on fire. We need to take care of our forest and live together. Will you please try?" they all said. Look, the giants, which I think just means the adult humans really, do look sad, don't they? The giants shuffled and fidgeted and stomped their feet on the ground. They were embarrassed and a little bit sad. You see, the giants were so busy building, they didn't see what they were doing to the forest and the animals who lived there. The giants felt terrible. "We're sorry," they said, and they promised to try harder. So from that day on, the greedy giants weren't so greedy. They slowed down and learned to sit quietly. They stopped working all the time and took up new hobbies. They stopped chopping down trees and learnt all about gardening and living in the forest. They cooked, repaired, tidied and shared, and before long, the forest became more beautiful than they could ever have imagined. Now, the reason I love this book is that at the back it tells you that this story was inspired by a real girl called Greta Thunberg. And it says here, when Greta was not much older than you, she found out about something called climate change. This means the world is getting hotter and hotter, and this is causing a lot of damage. Greta knew all of this and couldn't understand why no one was doing anything about it. So when she was just 15 years old, so she was still a schoolgirl, she went on strike from school, sitting outside the Swedish government building and holding a sign that said, "Strike for Climate." Over time, people stopped to join her, and now the protest has encouraged children and adults from all over the world to stand up for climate change and for our world. And I love this quote here, "No one is too small to make a difference." And it says the top bullet point over here is learn everything you can about climate change. And that's fantastic because that's what we're going to do in our Wednesday lesson. Hope you enjoyed that story. Mia already brought it in for us and we've enjoyed it in Penguins, but I thought it would be good to share it again. Thanks, Year 1. Bye.